told my husband, I leaned over, I said, I feel like somebody tapped in my playlist this morning, okay? Because from praise and worship and the amazing instrumentalists over here, from the young people, I'm telling you, every one of those songs are on my playlist. And so I know that things even are already aligning today. I am Chelsea Johnson Muir. All the things that, you know, your amazing pastor said, but more than anything, I'm a child of God, right? That's just really what I am. So you can read and you can find out anything else, but I'm a child of God. You know, first I want to thank my husband, Al Wayne, for being here. Ham, y'all, Ham is the Bernie's, okay? She not mine. I just had her, but I'm thankful for you all and just thankful for the opportunity to serve. I say that to anyone and everyone. I'm just thankful for the opportunity to serve. And I prayed and I asked. It's so funny, guys, that I keep things closer to the vest. And the past week, I was talking to your pastor before I walked in. I said, I feel like the enemy was upset, right? Because I coach girls basketball. We just finished up. And that's normally my time where I take a minute to recover, right? Recover from the time, recover for the day-to-day practice. We practice Monday. Where's that baby at that said, I want to play all sports and do them well, right? I heard you, right? And I love what she said. She said, even in the off season, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to find hobbies, but I'm going to still work hard. Well, this is my off season, right? But we got to make sure we rest our bodies. And in that rest, when the enemy knew I had some things lined up to serve this weekend, he was like, no, I'm trying to get in the way. And so he tried to attack my asthma that had not had an issue in years. But I know one thing. The thing that spoke in my spirit said, well, if the Lord can breathe into dry bones, he can breathe that breath back into me. And so we're here. I'm excited. And I just won't be here long. You know, pastors and preachers, things they say that. I mean that. I promise. But I just want to make sure that there's some things that our young people and our young at heart here to just continue to keep us keeping on. And I thought about this, and it's really has been on my heart is branding, right? We're doing a God Be Girls Night Out next week for our girls at God Be, and we're talking about the brand new you, personal branding. I was speaking at FCA basketball yesterday for our younger people, and we talked about branding. And I told them, and I pondered, and I said, you know, when we go into the store, right, we see Nike. Nike doesn't have the word Nike. It has a check. Now you see the check, you know, that's Nike, right? We see three stripes. My young people, three-stripe life. What is it? Adidas. See what I'm saying? Right? Watch this. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. That's right, baby. That baby said McDonald's. I'm loving it, right? All of these things play into our branding, our personal branding. And so I thought about that, and I said, when we see Nike and we know it's a check, no one has to proclaim or yell out when they enter the room, Nike, right? When we see Adidas and we walk into the room, no one has to tell me my three-stripe life is Adidas. When we ride and see those golden arches, my daughter Ham, I'm telling you now, Mama, I want French fries, okay? She didn't even know I don't think that it says McDonald's. She just knows what they produce. And every time she gets the red box of fries, it's the same today, yesterday, and forevermore that I go to French Fry Friday. And so I was just like, God, I hear you, but I want to make sure that thing is driven home the way that you want it to be driven home. You know, it's amazing what you said when you came here and you did the sports context. I've been living my life in the fourth quarter. I've been living my life in the fourth quarter. And see, there's a difference. When I coach, and I tell the girls and young men even sometimes, the first quarter, you know, you have some anxiety a little bit. You're trying to find your footing a little bit when you watch a basketball game. We can be a little bit more passive with some of the decisions that we make. Second quarter, you're kind of feeling your warmth a little bit. You're getting in your footing and your stride. And then halftime, we got some time to make those adjustments to come back out. But I tell people it's that fourth quarter. That fourth quarter, the sense of urgency kind of drives a little bit further. You know, in that fourth quarter, that's sometimes where, as a coach, I got to be more strategic. Maybe the person I played in the first quarter is not who I play in the fourth quarter. Maybe the friends I had with me cheering for me because I'm down by 10, young people catch that, you know. So if I have friends that are with me in the good times, when I look to my left and right, are they there when we're now down by 10, right? Are they with me when I'm in my bad moments? Are they with me and steering me to do the right things to get me back up by 10? And so I've been living to my young at heart in the fourth quarter moments, right? The urgency is a little bit better. We watch the news. We see social media. We see all the things that's going on and plaguing our day, right? But I want us to understand, instead of looking at social media, we got to remember to look to the hills, because that's where our help comes from. So I thought about this, and I said, Lord, how do I break this down to where it can consistently be broken to our young people? I've been young, and I've listened to people speak, and sometimes it hits over my head. But I said, God, I want to make sure that it's you speaking and not me. And I thought about this, and I said, as coaches, we always tell our young people there's no I in team, right? We've heard people joke and say, well, there's an ME, right? You know you have a leading scorer on every team. You have an MVP on every team. But I'm going to charge you, and I just want to give you this word today, that there is an I in team, and it's the great I am, right? There is an I in team, and it's the great I am, you know? And so I laughed at that because when you think about the I am, God is the I am of the team that you play on. He's your head coach. He's your assistant coach. He's the statistician. He takes account, right? Because at one day, we all have to, my grandfather used to say, rest his soul, we all got to take that journey one day where we're going to have to give account. He would say account for all the things that we did and didn't do. He's that statistician. So when you're making the good choices, when you're making the wrong choices, right? We still human, those stats, he's taking those stats. And one of the things my girls do at the end of every game, that, Coach, can I see what I had? And I said, no. You don't need to see what you had. It'll be posted in the paper and online. But I want us to feel like that when we're working. At the end of my day, God, what were my stats? At the end of the day, God, did I follow the game plan? At the end of the day, how many assists did I make? You know, real quick, let me help you for my non-basketball people. My assist is the pass that's given for the other person to score. So what did I do to help somebody else find Christ that day? What did I do to help somebody else meet their moment that day? Because sometimes it's not about us. So in talking about branding, you see the logo, right? You see the commercials. I was sitting in the living room the other day, and I didn't even know she knew this, and it was the Burger King commercial, right? And it's like, BK, have it your way. And I'm in the kitchen. She goes, you rule. I'm like, how she know that, right? And I laughed at it, but again, it's one of those things that branding does, and it'll make you go get a Whopper. So what are we doing as Christ followers that make people follow Christ? You'll always hear me say, if you hear me speak, God, I just want to be a vessel. I just want to serve. But one of my biggest prayers is that you help me be a light so that those that don't know you can find you. See, it's not about me. The scripture tells us in Matthew, let your light so shine, right? So that men and women can see the good works, and then watch this, glorify the Father in heaven. Young people, I want you to understand that we are helpers. That's what a help work comes in, right? This morning when you woke up, the light, you turned it on to find your clothes. Sometimes we don't even need the light, and we flip the light switch out of habit, right? And so I'm an interactive person, so young people, I'm going to be talking to you, so talk back to me, please. When you turned on the light this morning, why did you do that? Why? So that I could what? So that I could see and see myself, see what I was wearing. There's some individuals that's not at New Harvest. There's some individuals that don't have hands on them guiding them to who Jesus Christ is. But see, you're a light. You're a logo. You're a brand for the kingdom. When you sit in those classrooms, I see elementary, middle, and high school ages back there. You're a brand for the kingdom. My beautiful chocolate baby that stood right here, that gave a testimony. You're a brand for the kingdom. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this right here saved some people. You had the boldness to stand here and give your testimony on that. There's some adults I know struggle with that, and they can't mention that honesty. But you're a brand for the kingdom. I felt that. God bless you for that today. And so as we're walking and moving, the decisions we're making, when we turned on the light and we decided what shirt we were going to put on this morning. Praise and worship, I think you were wearing the Black History colors. I think I got that. I know. I sing choir and praise and worship. I know how we coordinate, right? But that was a thought. I walked in. I paid attention to that. And so when we're sitting at our jobs, my young at heart, when we're sitting everywhere that we are, I want people to know I'm a light. I don't have to say it. I don't have to walk in and say, y'all, I'm wearing Nike today. Y'all see me in my red bottoms today. No, I want people to understand and know when they're paying attention to me that they see the light, so let your light shine. you know, in Exodus 3:14, that's one of the scriptures that I kind of guided this message when God gave it to me. And it says that God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. Now, when you think about this in your class, it's the first day of school. The teacher's going down the roll, right? And they're calling your name. You know your name, right? Somebody throw me a name at you. What's your name? My singer. I can play the background. What's your name? All right, Drayton, you better speak it like that, right? And that's your name because that's who you are. But I stopped and pondered about that for a minute, and I said, the Lord said, I am. That could be so many things. I am that I am, right? But that gave me this profound, unattainable, right? Listen to Moses, did more than I can expect. Because when you think about the I am, you're thinking about the God that is the head coach. You're thinking about the God that is the source, right? You ever ate something that's so good, you be like, I can't put my hand on it. It's just, you hear a song and you can't really place what it is, but it makes you feel a certain way. That is what God is. He's the I am. I am the provider. I am the peacemaker. I am the source. I am the carrier. I am the heavy load sheriff, as my grandma would say. And so I don't need to give you one name because I don't do one thing. When God says that I am, he's declaring authority. He's the head of the organization. He's the head of the team. He's the head of the church. He gives the wisdom and the direction and the leadership. So to give him a finite name for an infinite power just doesn't seem right to me. So when we move in our day, in every organization, in every job, when we walk the halls, when we have the titles. See, I tell people, you can read the titles. I sometimes don't even like to give my bio because I think that when you add the title, it removes God. When you lean on your title, it removes the ability to have the infinite power that he gave you, right? And so I love to just be, and I love how you did that. You pulled out what God did in that bio. We didn't read the accolades, right? Because the real token of what we do is, again, as my grandpa used to say, when you give account for the things you did here on this earth. So the second thing I want you to remember is the I am is the star. You know, as a coach, I try my best coaching 20-something young ladies every year and trying to coach them the best as a singular, but as a unit. How do I coach each person to be able to get what they need as an individual and as a collective? But, you know, every team has a star. My young people, y'all watch the Lakers. Who's the star? That could be questionable now, but who's the star? I hear Bron. Did I hear Luka back there? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'm with it. That being said, the Super Bowl, Philadelphia Eagles. Who's the star? That could be questionable. Hurts. Do I hear Barkley? My point in that is when you say a team, we had a Barkley. When you say a team, there's a star. But see, when you talk about the I am, when you talk about God, I want to pull John 8:12, and he says, I'm the light of the world. In a team or a show, there's a star. There's one who shines. There's one who draws the attention. Jesus declared that I am the light of the world. He's the star of our lives, the one who illuminates our path and gives purpose. Who are the stars in your life? When you think about your friends, when you think about your family, when you think about the people around you, and this is, again, for my young and my young at heart, are the people around you sharpening your iron, as the word says? I was with a group of people last night for a birthday, and it was just so beautiful to see these amazing women. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, be honest, right? Growing up, and even now, I'm very particular about the company I keep. And being in that room where iron was sharpening iron, and just being in places where I have not just yes men, but no men. Okay, young people, you don't want people. I want those eyes up now. I'm going to give you the coach voice. You got to catch this, because everybody's not your friend. Everybody's not for you. And the one telling you the things that you want to hear is not always the ones that need to be around you. You sometimes need some no men. Chelsea, I don't think that was a good idea. Chelsea, you were obedient to get up and go do something you wanted to do. So go and get that asthma pump and get up and go do what God called you to do. Those are the people that you need in your life. And it takes a person to illuminate to let that happen. When we're in a dark room, a star shines brightly. In dark places, are you that light? Or do we follow the crowd? In our classrooms and on the playground, when individuals are doing things that they shouldn't do, are you following the path? Are you following God's path? There's a poem I love that says, 2 roads diverge in the wood and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. That could take on and spiral so many definitions, but in my life, my path that I took that's less traveled is the one with the great I am. The path that I took had a light that shines so brightly that it directed to give me that peace, that directed me to give me more than I can imagine, that directed, I'm going to play the background because I know sometimes I get in the way. So God, I want you to take the lead. I want you to take the lead down this path of the road less traveled by so that I can play the background and let you lead. The I am says I'm the good shepherd. The I am says I'm the good shepherd. And in John 10:11, it says that he leads us, he guides us. See, a team has a captain. Anybody play sports back there? I know I got my young lady play. Oh, many of them, right? Are any of you the captain? You captain? Okay. But your team has a captain, yes? Now, what's the job of that captain? Yes, I'm speaking to you. What's the job of the captain on your team? To lead, right? By voice and by action, wouldn't you say? Why do you follow Christ? Why do you follow Christ? I know I'm putting you on blast. There's a reason. Ooh. I need to sit down. This baby say, I follow Christ to win. And you, the funny thing is, you already at the bottom of my speech. Because I tell anybody, I play on God's team because he's undefeated. He's never lost a case in my life. He's never lost a case on any account. Has the longest long-standing coaching history record. Has rings on every finger and crowns. Yes, sir. That's my guy back there. I love that. Well, y'all say, I love that for you. I love that for you. See, a captain gives direction, just like he said. The captain protects us, right? He gives direction, protection, and if we're branding, if God is the captain, we reflect the leadership. I tell my young ladies all the time, okay, we gave you the role of captain, so why are you late? Because if you're late, it makes it okay for them to be late. They take on the take and the role and the culture of the leader. So as their coach, when I'm standing, what do I look like? What am I saying? Am I cursing? Do I look the part? Am I teaching them Christ? Is my light showing the leadership of the I am? And so when you're walking and you're moving in your day, right? Y'all, this is so funny to me. I teach as well. I teach science. And so I teach I teach biology, chemistry, and AP environmental science. So I get to see them from 9th to 12th. And first day of school, you see them like this. My young people, why y'all walking like that? Do you know? Because they don't want to crease their shoes. Y'all, I can't stand that. I can't stand it. Right? And why don't you want to crease your shoes? I just got them. You ain't worry about creasing when you was up here praising them, though. I will give you that. I'm going to give you that. But that being said, you don't want to crease them because you don't want to destroy the appearance of them. See, as soon as you drive a car off the lot, it loses its value. When you crease those J's or those Forces or those Dunks or whatever it is you like, to you it loses its value. So when you're moving in your day, whenever you do things that dishonors God, you're placing a crease on his brand. Whenever you're doing things and you know it's not right, because see, let me tell you something. I am a church girl through and through. I've been in the church and in the pews since I was a little girl, just like my daughter Ham. And when I tell you, one of the things that does is that lays the foundation that even if you stray away, steer away, it's going to always be that still small voice to say, I'm here. I see you. What you doing, right? And so as God kingdom kids, those are the things that we have to ensure that we're not creasing the brand. We're not destroying the brand. Because sometimes you're the only Bible that people will read. Sometimes you're the only image of God that people will see. And if you're the only image of God that people will see, what are you showing? There's a light in the bathroom. I'm picking at somebody on the front row. That in the restroom, it flickers on and off, right? So the bulb didn't blow yet, but at sometimes it won't turn on. And so when it doesn't fully illuminate, I can't all the time see to actually make sure I got my foundation right. I can't make sure that this blouse truly did match the shoe. I can't make sure that the eyeliner is actually on straight because this morning that light wasn't fully shining through. But sometimes and so often in our walks with Christ, we're straddling the fence. Right? And see, it's something about that fence. I saw this the other day, and it was so powerful. It said, I'm over here on God's team. That's the home team. And I'm over here on the enemy's team. See, the enemy has an opportunity to make his brand look like we're missing out. The enemy has the distinct talent to be able to let you think that what's on this side is greater than what's on God's side. He's going to play into what you like. He's going to play into what you think is the best, right? He's going to change my boys giving their bars on I can play the background to want you to listen to things that's not his word. It looks more appealing that way. And so what we'll do is we'll stay right here in the middle. I know I want to be on God's side. I don't want to be on the enemy's side. I know better. But I'm going to stay just close enough to the things that I'm drawn to. And the message in the video ended and it said, we got to the end to give count to the things that God saw us do as the statistician. And he said, well, God, no, I wasn't on the enemy's side. He said, but you weren't fully on my side. And the one thing about the fence is that even though you're sort of with me, I don't have my full hand on you because you're too close to the enemy side. And so one of the things that I need you all to understand as young people is just like you don't want to crease your shoes, we should never, ever want to crease God's brand. We should never want to crease God's brand. And just the way that you change your entire walk to ensure that you don't crease your shoes, when you accept the love of Jesus Christ, it's my hope that you change your entire walk. As the I am, sometimes the coach has to correct. My girls don't like it. They love when I say great game. They love when I say, yes, that's it. And if you ever watch me, I am animated. I'm not Bob Knight, right? I'm an encourager. But I get in there like I'm playing. But there's times where I have to pull you to the side, and I will never belittle you. I will never, ever make you embarrassed. But there has to be correction. And the I am is the corrector. And so young people, he's ordained people in your life, excuse me, that have given you the opportunity to correct you. Your parents, your godparents, your grandmothers, your aunts, your teachers, your coaches, each other, your people in your leadership in this church. We got to make sure that when correction is given, that we humble ourselves to take it. Am I young at heart? That's us too. That's us too. You know, we love when people give us good talk and good words. But can I stand when I'm being corrected? Can I receive the word from my brother or my sister? Because last time I checked, there is an I am in team, but there's a team. And every team has to have unity, support, and togetherness. And that's what I saw today from the, excuse me, the singing, to the dancing, to the speeches. These babies spoke so boldly in ways that some of my high schoolers won't do. They spoke so boldly to say, and I think that was the most amazing thing. Thank you so much. That was the most amazing thing for you all to do. History is great, but at the same time, too, they hear about Martin Luther King Jr., and they hear about Rosa Parks, and they hear about Mary McLeod Bethune. But when you show young people what they can be, when you have them speak life over themselves, that was the most beautiful part of today. You know, I'm a pivot real quick because your pastor said something that was so powerful when we talked about breaking chains. And sometimes we will place ourselves in a courtroom when God didn't even want us there. Sometimes we will hold on to a mistake so long, and God said, why are you still bound, child? I set you free. But I can't fully serve because I'm still held in chains and bondage. Now watch it. I put on myself. I can't fully lead because I still have bondage on myself. Some of you all are in a state of a space or in chains that were placed on you even and you don't know. And God can't fully use you because you're still bound and he wants to use you free. There's a story of a circus master, and he had elephants, and these big elephants were walking and rolling with chains on their leg. They didn't stray to the left, they didn't stray to the right. And you're talking about a man, 2 tons, pounds of elephants, and they listened to their every command. So the guy was getting them off the truck, and he asked the guy, he said, how is it that you can take all of these elephants and they listen to you? They don't stray away from you. They don't even for 1 inch try to get out of the line of your command. He said, well, this is what I do. He says, from when they're young elephants, I put the chains on them. And I train them. And I tell them. So now when they're bigger, they don't know that the chain is still there. All they do is follow my command. Now, I'm going to go 2 ways with this. The way of God says that if we follow him from the ages where you are, if you grow in him, when you grow up, you will never depart from it. But some of us on the other side, the visiting side, is still allowing the lie that somebody told me. It's still allowing the person that bullied me. That's still allowing social media and what it says. That's still allowing the person that tells me I can't do something to steer and chain me in bondage. And I'm asking you today to let it go. Because if you break that chain, you will then allow God to be able to use you and use you fully. See, much like that light, I'm going to get it changed, y'all. Much like that light, it's flickering. It's not fully illuminating. And some of us are serving with a flickering light. That Sunday and Monday, I'm a light that shines so brightly. Y'all ever seen people like that? They shine so bright on Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday, it's like, hey, you good? You okay? What happened? What's going on? And then Thursday kind of coming back, and then Friday, it's Friday. Everybody light on Friday. It's something about Friday. That light comes out on Friday. But we don't want to be a flicker for God. We want to be a flame. And so we have to ensure in order to be a flame, there are certain things that we need. So lastly, God the I am, he wants to be the head of your life. He's not your, he's not your assistant. I have assistant coaches. But when we lose, who's head coach? The great thing about the I am is he wants your losses. He wants your hard moments. He wants those every thoughts that you're thinking even when he's not around, even when you can't talk to mama and you can't talk to daddy, you can't talk to the mentor, you even can't find the words. the I am that's in team. He wants those moments. That's the blessing and that's the beauty of those moments. Thank you. And so we have to ensure that on God's team, that we're making sure that the light that we illuminate is a reflection of him. What am I showing? We hear it all the time. She say she a Christian. Did you hear how she said that? Some people wait on it. They're watching you because you're supposed to be God's brand. They watch how you walk in the room. They watch how you talk. Oh, I saw you on the live stream rapping. I saw you dancing with your praise team. Now look at you. You know better than me. You're doing what I'm doing. They wait on it. They prey on your downfall. But we don't want to be a flicker. We want to be a flame. And one thing about a light and a flame, there has to be consistency. That young lady said this to me. She said, I heard you. She said, I want to be good, not at one sport. I don't want to be a specialist. She said, I want to be good at all of them. God gives us all talents. Anybody know the parable of the talents back there? I know they didn't talk about it in here. And the beauty of the talent is this. Long story short, God gave individuals different talents. He gave one this number, he gave one this number, he gave one. And what happens in life is sometimes I see somebody with 5 talents and I have 1. So I harvest mine. And that's what he did. The others that had multiple talents, they used them. The one that had 1 dug it in the ground. And when it was time to give count for the talents that were given, those that used their talents, they were multiplied. But the one that dug it in the ground so that no one else could see that talent, the Lord took it away. And so I charge you that as you take a look at being a brand and a light for Christ, you cannot be a flicker. You cannot half step in that walk because God is looking at every last one of you. I see the multiple talents. Some of y'all came up here more than once. But you have to ensure that the talent that God has given you, that you are using it. We are living in a time where you cannot half step. You cannot be afraid to speak up because I don't know how it's going to make me look to my boys. I don't know how it's going to make it look to my homegirl. You are the one. You're the one he's called. It's not a question. Some of y'all look like me. Yes, you. I'm looking at you for a reason. You are the one that God has called for such a time as this to infiltrate your classrooms. Y'all, I'm in the classroom every day. I know. But I can tell you this, I can always see the light. I have 154 of them every day. I know the lights. And it's not because they wore a shirt that said, I'm God's brand. It's not because they have, I'm a Christian on my forehead. It's how they speak when they walk in the mornings. It's when the 99% is doing all the wrong things and they're the 1%. But there's a beauty in the 1%. He left the 99 for the 1. And so I'm asking that you don't flicker, that you flame. If you want to make Jesus the I am in your life, it takes boldness. It takes sacrifice. See, we see LeBron James. If you in the MJ or Kobe era, that's fine. Wilt Chamberlain era, that's fine too. Okay? My ladies, Asia Wilson, if you need it, right? Fill in that blank. But it takes sacrifice. It takes hard work. It takes people talking about you. One thing about it is sometimes you may stand alone. But one on God's side is always the majority. As I close in this moment, I need you young people to come here. I need you to come here. Don't be shy. I need you to come here. Just line up. I want you to face me, as we're going to do this together. This is my boo right here. Look, my own child ain't coming. Look at him. Now, she good. She's like, Mama, we do this every morning. I teach y'all and I coach every day. And I want you to understand, this same person you see standing here, if you find yourself in my classroom or my court, and I mean basketball court, that is, I'm the same way. And one thing about a brand is if you do it right the first time, you don't need a rebrand. I get frustrated sometimes. I love Dunkin'. I run on Jesus and Dunkin', okay? But I get frustrated when they change the menu and need a rebrand. I get frustrated when you change a logo. I have a friend that works at Florida State. They just changed the logo and had to change everything. I work for Leon County Schools. They just changed the logo. So you have to change the logo on everything. But one thing about being a part of God's brand, you never have to change. Because he's the same today, yesterday, and forevermore. He's the I am because every part of him was made perfect. Do we need to change perfection? It's 100%. And so we're going to declare this thing today, and you're going to hold this declaration. I'm actually going to print it out when I get home. I'm going to email it to you so they can have this. But I asked God, I said, I need something that we can declare together. I need these young people to stand up and not be a flicker, but be a flame for who God is. I need these young people when they're in the midst of 100 people that their light can show differently than what it is. Give them boldness to be able to stand up and be the flame that you called them to be. So watch this. We're his workmanship. Ephesians 2:10 says, I'm created to do great things, but watch it in his name. Everything that you do, you have to go forth and do it in his name. We are the light of the world, and we shine brightly in our schools, in our communities, in our homes, in our church houses. We are unashamed of the gospel. So you can't be ashamed of who God is. And I know when you're growing up, I know you're trying to find your path as a young person in Christ. This baby had no fear today. You hear me? They have more boldness than some adults I know. We are not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's given to everyone who receives it, and we can't be ashamed. We must walk in love, truth, and power everywhere. Not because I can walk here because it's Sunday and it's the church. You're the church. So wherever you walk, that love, truth, and power must follow you. We represent Jesus in our speech and in our action, in our character. Colossians 3:17 tells us that, and we must live in integrity and faith. So what I need you all to do is repeat after me. We are God's brand. No. Nah, I'm going to tell y'all just like I do my girls. If you going to say it with me, we're not going to fake it. Okay? Because the next thing I know, I need people that's going out, they're ready to play in the fourth quarter. Majority of the time, I don't know who those 5 are. I know in that timeout prior to the fourth quarter who's going in. So when I say, hey, we need to do this, we're down by 5, we're up by 10, this is what we need to do. But then I look, and I'm like, you ready? She's not going in. Because I can tell by your light that you're not ready to go to war. And my young people, this is a time of war. So we're going to try that again. We are God's brand. There it is. Sealed, called, and sent. And never, ever will we stop representing the brand. Let's do it one more time. We are God's brand. Sealed, called, and sent. And we will never stop representing the brand. Thank y'all so much. In closing, when I think about God's brand, almost 20 years now, I was the point guard for Livingstone College women's basketball team. 50 years now, CIAA celebration, a part of a brand. And that day, I always knew Christ. I knew the Christ of my mother. I knew the Christ of my grandparents. I knew the Christ of anybody that mentored me. But as I was playing along the brand, I passed out. Most of us thought we were just dehydrated. And weeks ahead, I kept a headache. Long story short, I had a brain aneurysm. Now, most of us in here probably know somebody that has had a brain aneurysm, and they're not here to tell the testimony or the story. But sometimes, and I learned that day, that sometimes God has to put you on your back because you have no other choice but to look up. And although I knew the God of my mother, that day I learned the God for me. And it was my promise to him that if he would heal and restore, that I would be his walking, talking brand and mouthpiece. So even when you don't feel like it, even when it seems like the odds are stacked against you, don't listen to what social media says. Don't listen to what your friends say. Don't listen to any voice that's not the voice of God or didn't send themselves because he sent them. You are God's workmanship. He's breathed life into you. And it is my hope, my prayer, and I claim today that every place that you walk and you touch, you don't flicker. You stand up with a flame for him. And much like you walking in your Dunks, in your Jordans, and your Air Force Ones, walk different. Walk tall. Don't crease the brand. Don't tarnish the brand. And live your life in such a way that somebody says, I want what they have. We're not the minority, y'all. We're the majority because we have God. It is cool to love God. It is dope to praise who he is and give him credit. When Jalen Hurts stepped to the mic after he won the Super Bowl, he said, first give honor to God. You wouldn't even catch that 10 years ago. They would try to cut the sound bite. But it is my hope and my every plea that the beauty and the love that Christ has in you, that you walk it boldly. And the next time you put on that Nike, next time you put on whatever it is that you choose as your brand, just know before you put on any of that, you keep God's brand on you because it's in your heart. And I want you to represent it. I want you to hashtag it. Even take a picture with it like you do. And if you follow him all the days of your life, I promise you it will be the best decision that you've made. So guys, I thank you so much for the honor and the privilege of being here. I truly do. And I pray God's blessings upon this whole entire house.